The Boss Lady and the Poor Man's Heart. In the city where wealth commands respect and pride builds walls, one woman's heart was about to be tested, not by riches, but by the simple love of a poor man. In the lively heart of Lagos City, there lived a woman called Adaobi Nwankwo. She was beautiful beyond measure. Her skin glowed like fresh palm oil under the sun, her eyes sparkled like the lagoon at dawn, and her steps carried the grace of a queen. Adaobi was also as sharp as a razor. She could read business contracts faster than her managers, and her late father's empire, from hotels to factories, was now in her name. Her mansion was so big that guests often got lost trying to find the dining hall. But Adaobi had a flaw. Her heart was like a tall mountain, difficult to climb, cold at the top. She was bossy, proud, and quick to insult. Workers trembled when she called their names. Men admired her beauty, but her sharp tongue cut them down. Every day, Adaobi shopped. Morning to evening, she bought dresses, perfumes, shoes, jewelry, many she wore only once. Her fleet of cars could fill a football field, and her handbags had their own special room. On weekends, the mansion emptied as Adaobi dressed for the grandest parties in town. She and her friends, all dressed in shimmering gowns, would arrive at clubs and wedding receptions in long convoys of cars. She spent without thinking. Champagne flowed like water, plates of jollof rice and grilled fish covered the tables, and every friend left with expensive gifts. But deep down, none of them truly cared for her. They were there only for what they could get. One hot afternoon, Adaobi swept into a supermarket, her high heels clicking on the tiled floor like a drumbeat. The air was filled with the smell of ripe mangoes and freshly baked bread. As she entered, she wasn't watching where she stepped. Her sharp stiletto came down hard on a man's foot. "Ah! Madam, you stepped on me," the man exclaimed, wincing. Adaobi didn't even glance at him. She lifted her chin, adjusted her designer sunglasses, and kept walking. The man stared at her, his eyes narrowing. Then, in a voice loud enough for the whole store to hear, he said, "Madam, you are beautiful, yes. But aren't you tired of behaving like a queen above everyone? You're getting old. All your mates are married with children. But you just spend your father's wealth on shopping and parties. What will become of you when the fun ends?" The entire supermarket froze. Even the cashier stopped counting money. Adaobi's steps faltered, but she didn't reply. For the first time in her life, someone had spoken to her without fear, and in public. That night, Adaobi sat in front of her mirror. The soft light showed the lines at the corner of her eyes she had never noticed before. She touched her reflection, and the stranger's words echoed like a drum in her head. She thought of her so-called friends. Their laughter when she spent money, their sudden silence when she didn't. She thought of the men who came around her, all charming, but all with empty hearts. Sleep abandoned her. The next morning, Adaobi made a decision: she would find true love. Suitors came, businessmen, politicians, men in fine suits with sweet words. They brought roses, cars, and even diamond rings. But soon, Adaobi discovered the truth. One evening, she overheard a man on the phone whispering, "Don't worry. Once I marry her, half her properties will be mine. She's just a golden goose." Her stomach turned. She realized none of them wanted her heart. They only wanted her gold. Unseen by her, in the mansion's garage lived Chike, one of her drivers. Chike was a quiet man, educated but poor. His salary barely fed him, but he carried himself with dignity. Secretly, he had loved Adaobi for years, not for her riches, but for her spirit, for the woman he believed she could be. Yet he kept his feelings locked away. One rainy evening, Chike stood outside her office with an umbrella, waiting to drive her home. As they drove through the storm, something in him refused to stay silent any longer. "Madam," he began softly, "forgive me if I speak out of place, but I must tell you the truth. I have loved you quietly for a long time. I have no riches, but my heart is yours if you will have it." Adaobi's laughter was sharp. "Chike, do you hear yourself? You, a driver, loving me? Please, don't joke about things above your level." The words stung, but Chike only nodded and drove on in silence. Weeks later, Adaobi fell ill. At first, it was just coughing, but soon she became weak and slim. Her glowing skin dulled, her laughter vanished, and her beauty faded. Fear spread quickly, and people avoided her. Her friends stopped visiting, whispering that perhaps she had a strange disease. The parties went on without her. Even the men who had promised her the moon and stars vanished like morning mist. At her lowest moment, Adaobi forced herself to attend a high-class party, hoping to find comfort. But when she entered, whispers filled the hall. "Is that Adaobi? See how she has changed, poor thing." One woman even laughed loudly and said, "Even her sickness cannot stop her pride." Humiliated, Adaobi fled the party in tears. Back at home, only Chike remained by her side. He brought her hot pepper soup from his own kitchen, fanned her when the fever rose, and prayed for her when she slept. He carried her gently from bed to chair, and sometimes stayed up all night watching over her. One night, Adaobi woke to find Chike dozing in a chair beside her bed, his hand still holding hers. A warmth spread through her chest, not from the fever, but from something she could not name. She realized then that the poor driver she had once mocked was the only one who had truly loved her. To test him, Adaobi pretended she was bankrupt. She told Chike quietly, "All my father's wealth is gone. I have nothing left." Chike looked into her eyes and replied, "If you had nothing but the clothes on your back, I would still love you. Wealth can vanish, but my love cannot." Adaobi broke down in tears. His words pierced her soul. When she recovered, Adaobi began to see Chike with new eyes. He was not rich, but he was steady. He had no mansion, but he had a heart stronger than gold. One evening, as the sun sank behind the city, Adaobi called Chike to the garden. Her voice trembled as she asked, "That day in the car, you spoke of love. Does it still stand?" Chike's voice shook. "It has never left, madam." This time, she didn't laugh. She held his hands and smiled through tears. Their wedding was small but beautiful. Her party friends refused to come, but the mansion was filled with laughter from genuine hearts. Adaobi, once the proud boss lady, had finally learned the greatest lesson of all. True love does not shine in gold or glitter in diamonds. It lives in actions, in patience, and in a heart that stays when all others walk away. Moral of the story. True love does not shine in gold or glitter in diamonds. It is proven in quiet actions, patient loyalty, and a heart that stays when others walk away. Pride isolates, but humility heals. Wealth can buy attention, never devotion. Character is tested in the storm, not under party lights. Kindness outlives beauty, and love is what remains when the music stops. And so, in the end, Adaobi discovered what many forget, that the greatest treasures in life are not found in palaces or gold, but in the heart that chooses to love you when the world walks away. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with friends and subscribe to get more interesting videos. Love you all and see you in my next video. Bye.